Hello guys, another week, another My Villain Academia anime episode. Let's just get right into it in case you don't remember. This is a weekly roundup session of all the cuts made in the MVA anime adaptation. Remember, no hate to the animators, no hate to the staff. Let's get right into it with episode 21 of season 5. The episode starts with some anime original shots of the city and the past where we see Destro's uprising, narrated by future Deku, whereas in the manga it is somewhat ambiguous who's narrating that. This leads into the reunion scene between Redestor and his revolutionaries, which is slightly shortened, but more importantly, if we're getting this episode, this probably means that the Detnerat commercial as well as Redestro killing his co-worker Miyashita have pretty much definitely been cut. We might get the commercial later when Shigaraki mentions it, but I kind of doubt it. For anime onlys, Detnerat, the company that Redestor is CEO for, is introduced in the manga through a TV commercial that shows that they make hero support items by plagiarizing US designs. This then leads into a scene where Redestro talks with his co-worker Miyashita about the Destro liberation ideology. Miyashita, unknowing that Redestro is the leader of that ideology, insults it. Redestro then, in a stroke of idealism, kills his co-worker by snapping his neck. This scene will probably not make it into the anime, so here's your recap for it. Next cut is so small, I'm just going to mention it so we have a complete image. When Dabi complains about not wanting to go save Giran, in the manga, Twice lashes out at him and attacks him with his tape, whereas in the anime that doesn't happen. Super small, doesn't really matter, but that's a thing they cut. Next, the conversation between Redestor and Giran is cut somewhat short in the anime. In the manga, we get a quick little explanation as to why Deka City is so important to the Metal Liberation Army, namely that it is the perfect suburban foothold for them to hold. It is somewhat isolated and quiet, but not completely in the boonies, giving them enough power while also being able to lay low. In the anime, that is completely omitted, and we immediately get into the conversation between Giran and Redestro about the reasons why they won't win. The penultimate chapter covered in this episode, chapter 227, sees maybe the most cuts out of any so far. The manga includes a scene where we see Redestro and Skeptic react to Courier's death, where we for one see that Redestro is quite emotional and very idealistic about the Destro ideology and the liberation movement, showing that he's not just a one-dimensional businessman villain. Meanwhile, Skeptic in this scene reveals to Giran that they are actually recording this entire fight, though that they can later use it for propaganda. This, honestly, might actually be introduced next episode. I am not quite sure, I've not seen any preview images that show this, but I can imagine it because this is kind of important. Then again, some of the cuts that are happening are still important, so I don't know, we'll have to see. But either way, it is a shame to see this scene gone because I really liked that Redestro moment, but whatever, moving on. A scene that sees both cuts and changes is Shigaraki getting attacked by the mass of people. In the anime, it is a random group of people that flies at Shigaraki so that he can decay them. Whereas in the manga, those people get rallied by Trumpet, who scoots in on his propaganda van and announces that Curious has died, spurring them on to attack Shigaraki further. This is yet another cut that sort of cuts down on the characteristics and the lore of the Metal Liberation Army and how they feel about their leaders and how they feel about their ideology. Again, it's not vital, it's a shame to see it go, however. The last cut that I could find is again kind of small. The flashback that Shigaraki has to his sister Hana is somewhat shortened. We miss out on a few key pieces of dialogue. You could always do that later, but it's worth noting that it's not here. So yeah, another week of an episode that is somewhat abridged. Again, there's nothing we can do about this except catalog it for people who want to read the manga, which at this point I would definitely recommend. As always, thank you for watching, and a big thank you to all our patrons, including Daniel Garcia, Fictionape, Cini, Victor Perez, Cesar Londono, Ignis, James and Tate, Mr. Meander, and Paracha. Thank you all, I appreciate the heck out of you all watching this, and I'll see you around next week for the next episode of this. See you around, bye bye.